Yeah.
yesterday I was like, I really wanted to cut my hair because the ends were dead.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up cutting my hair all on my own. I cut
Wow.
like this much.
This much is a lot.
Yeah,
It's like a lot. It's like 4 inches, five
I
inches.
know. Yeah. Like
Oh
four
my.
inch, yeah, 5 inches, I think.
Before our guest gets here, I want to hear you had your photo shoot. Did you have like the photo shoot or was it the practice photo shoot?
No, it was the photo shoot, but we're
Yeah.
breaking it up into 3 different sessions just because of the hair and makeup,
Yeah.
which yeah, it's gonna take a while for the next round. Just because it's so elaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very elaborate because they're more like they're meant to represent a character.
Right.
So there's like a mythical creature thing, and so the makeup is obviously going to take a couple hours.
Wow.
Yeah. But the first one it was pretty cool. It was not as fast as I thought it would be. No, but it was fun. I'm lucky enough that the makeup artist is also my friend,
Yeah.
and so she just made me laugh the whole time.
That's good. I told you laughing it helps, right? Like
It does.
laughing and music and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Gotta
It
get my
really
writing right.
does.
Yeah.
It really does. So she would try to make jokes or just say like funny things or like just do a whole bunch of silly stuff. So I ended up having a whole bunch of fun on the set, and it was nice.
That's cool. Was it in a studio or were you on like location or
I was here at the house,
oh, okay. So you were in like your own
my own
habitat.
environment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your own habitat. It's so funny.
Which was pretty crazy because my son was supposed to be upstairs,
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, supposed to
But
be.
yeah.
Kids
No,
are always supposed to be doing something and they never do.
right? And so he came downstairs a couple times
Yeah.
and was just like, "What are you doing? And what's this? And what's that? And why are you wearing that? And what's that on your face?"
That's so funny. I'm gonna keep muting on and off just so you know, because I'm gonna be
Yeah, coughing.
clearing. Yes, coughing. Let me get rid of my email really quickly. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Oh, we didn't even have a chance to chat him up before he joined. He's so prompt. Um, all right, well, we'll just chat him up anyways because he's here. So we'll just talk about him while he's here.
What's up? Am I early? You want me to go on mute?
No, you can
No.
stay and hang out.
Let's hang out.
And now
Yes.
we can see you. Gabby, Brett, Gabby.
Gabby,
Hi.
what's up?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And where in the world is Gabby? That's always the question. We never know where
Gabby.
she's gonna be.
I know I just travel so much. But no, right now I'm in my house. I'm in Merida, Yucatan, which is in Mexico. So yeah.
What? Yeah. Yeah, just randomly hanging out in the Yucatan.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
You do. You're all over the place. What are you talking about?
I am. You know.
I know.
So.
The man babe and I were just talking. He's like, do they ever stop? Like you're like, we just saw your post on social where you're like, I went from a swim meet or some sort of like sporting event, and then you were like just on to like a black tie party or something. And we're like, what is happening? Do you slow down ever?
Yeah. I don't even.
Do you breathe? Do you eat?
No. I eat. Oh yeah. Trust me. I've skipped a lot of meals. We don't sit still well. That's just not something we do well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good though. Energy is good. So
if I stop, I'll get sick. That's my theory. So I've just not stopped for 46 years.
It's funny. I'm sick
Wow.
right now. Let's just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that you're here. Gabby is she's gonna lead the conversation today, since seeing that I'm a little bit under the weather, but you're in good hands, and I'm gonna like hang out with you guys too. But if I mute, you know what I'm doing. So I got hit with the bugs. You know, when it comes to kids and crud, it's just, it's part of life's chaos. So, but the show must go on.
Yeah, Katie's like 9 days into the crud, like 2 days ago. Katie's
Is she
my wife.
really?
Yeah, I couldn't even like talk. I couldn't even hear her. She's like talking. I'm like, are you talking to me? Because you're like, your voice was so raspy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's a teacher too, so she's like has like 10 times the germs that
yes.
that she gets hit with. So, but we're not here to talk about germs and kids. We're here to talk about you. I want to hear about what you got going on.
I got a lot going on.
I know you do.
Yeah, I am just pumped to be here. And we've got added bonus with Gaby from the Yucatan. I love it. Yeah.
I want to know all about like I was telling Gaby, and you'll have to expand on it a little bit, that like you were like super corporate for decades, right? And
I
then
was.
boom, you were like, who's coming with me? Like a Jerry Maguire fish in the bowl.
How did that happen though? Like, how'd you jump into that?
Well, I majored in, well, this I'll get okay, we're gonna start from the beginning. I went to college to be an orthodontist.
Okay.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So cool. So podcast over. I'm not an orthodontist. I went to be an orthodontist and it just didn't work. Inorganic chemistry, I tried. It wasn't my thing. And I majored in advertising. So went advertising, went to Colorado, worked for Coors, did a bikini photo shoot 2 months into my career.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm standing on a beach in Florida thinking, I've made it. My career has peaked. I'm 8 weeks in, top of the world. And then reality set in that I had to keep working for, another 50 years.
Right.
But I spent a lot of time in the advertising world while it was fun. Our clients were Coke and Coke Super Bowl campaigns. So while that seems fun, that's a very much corporate advertising job. And along the way, I met some great clients. They brought me client side. And I ended up through a series of events in the middle of Ohio, in Columbus, at Abbott Labs with khaki pants, blue button down. And if I donated $1 to charity, I got to wear jeans on Friday. And I put my head down. I did what I could for 6.5 years. My wife kept saying, hey, they've got a great pension. I said, okay. No, I couldn't do it. I went back agency side and saw the world from a different standpoint. And then, like you were saying, beginning of last year, I knew that the agency model was broken. We just came out of a pandemic. The audience had changed. Consumers were controlling how we approached marketing. So I quit everything. I went down to the Secretary of State with my $99 check, and I got myself an LLC.
So fun.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we're doing it. It was like Jerry Maguire. I had I was holding the fish, and the only person looking at me was the dog.
Yeah.
And the dog. So the dog came with me. The dog's pumped. The dog is behind me right now. And I knew that I wanted to start something that didn't have to be anything. If I started an ad agency and I brought in a copywriter and a developer and a strategist, then I would have had to sell copywriting and development and strategy, and we would tell you what our agency had. I started an agency with 0 employees. I'm still the only employee, and I built the entire thing on a hub and spoke model. During the pandemic, everybody that I knew was super talented went out on their own.
Yeah.
I said, why don't I just start a company where I can call the best of the best? Because no one hustles harder than a freelance creative.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's how we've built the team. We still have 1 employee. The dog picks the corporate holidays.
Funny.
And I'm surrounded by amazing people. We have amazing clients, and we just tell stories.
Yeah.
Did you have to save up in order to take that jump?
Should I have saved up? Yes. Did I? No.
Okay.
I didn't, because I really had to buy a laptop, a couple URLs, and some licensing. Fortunately, I didn't have to have a lot of inventory. I didn't have to pay an employee day one. So would have been a little bit less stressful if I'd saved up, probably. But it worked well from the beginning, and we haven't looked back.
I love it because
That's
you
awesome.
also, and you're like for the client, right? So you're like a full service, you're there to service and provide and, be there from A to Z for the client. And you pull in different people from different places to work on the projects with you and the clients, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're a full service marketing and communications.
Yeah.
We focus on digital and video within a content experience, but that content has to live somewhere, called a landing page. That content has to be written, called a copywriter. But the client comes in and says, we have this we need to solve. So I go build the all-star team of solutions.
Right.
And we get it done. And when that team's done, the client wants more, we keep working. But we build the model based on what they need.
Yeah.
And they're not paying for someone that I'm not pushing an agenda of someone I've got to pay.
Right.
On the salary. So yeah, we're fully client centric. I was the client. So my goal is to get every client promoted, because then they get promoted and they get a bigger budget and we got them there. And then the person that takes their spot, they said, hey, you should really call Brett.
Right.
And then we get like lots of clients.
So is that how that works? I mean, I think Gaby and I are both probably thinking the same thing. I mean, it's hard to go out on your own and be a freelancer, right? Don't you think, Gaby? I mean, did you have a question? I feel like networking is like your biggest thing. And it's not just networking, it's connecting with people. You can meet tons of people and talk to tons of people, but really connecting with people and then connecting with the right people, and then getting that relationship going is essential, but it takes a while.
It does. I love meeting people and I love talking. So by meeting people and talking, I get to figure out what that connection is, why it makes sense. But it is hard. And I have never left a meeting thinking, well, we can't do that. I just say yes my entire career. Yeah, we got this. Cool. We leave it out. And people look at me and go, how are we going to do that? We'll make some phone calls. My entire mentality is I got a guy or I got a girl for that. I got a person for it. And it was always the fun thing to say, till I realized in my mid 40s, it was actually the business plan we needed to launch.
Yeah, I think I think that we've heard that before from one of our mentors, just say yes and then figure it out in the back end. Although I will tell you a story. I did have a client come to me and they asked me for something specific, like a voicemail message on Google Voices recently. And I was like, I have no idea how to make this work. But I was like, yes, I can do this for you. And then I'm like, on the Google machine trying to figure out how the hell to do it. And then I was like, there's only 2 ways to do it, So anyways, you just have to make it work. I'm waiting for them to call me back, but yeah, I mean, I will get it done. Either they give me their login information and I log into their account, or I record something and send it to them and then they just pass it through their phone to their computer. I mean, there's no other way to do it, but you make it work, right?
Yeah, you actually, it's like a wicked combination of getting shit done. Yeah. It's just, you figure out how to do it.
How do you keep going? Like, that's what I want to know. Cause like you're like the Energizer bunny. I feel like you are like a marketing advertising guru genius. Like, and your energy is so electric, especially like Gaby, really, if you were in the room with him and like, we were like hanging out with him and his wife, Katie, I mean, it's really, but you don't walk away like zapped. Yeah, you walk away like hyped. Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm the chief.
Going?
I keep going because my family totally kicks ass. They're fun. I have fun kids. I have a fun dog. I have a great wife. I mean, we all go. We just go at a different pace. And, every once in a while we got to recharge. So we'll take a nap for 20 minutes and get back to it. I don't know. I think what keeps me going is the excitement of what's next. Yeah. There's an opportunity around every single corner. Yeah. It's probably the thing that keeps me up at night too. Like, oh, how else can we do that? What's the different opportunity? But I'm surrounded by awesome people that want to go. So we just, gas is on the right and let's do it.
That's awesome. So looking back, and this is a 2-part question. What was the most difficult situation you had to go through as you started out on your own? And what are you most proud of?
The most difficult situation is I actually I had a non-solicitation and a non-compete, so I was not able to contact any of the previous 8-year relationships I had. Wow. So I had to go find different extensions, different opportunities, because the guys I worked for, I valued their relationships, and a lot of these came through that way. And as people have contacted me, I've just tried to be, hey, this is 12 months. So I've had to find a creative way to bring in clients. But it goes back to, I just made a lot of phone calls to the people I was allowed to call and said, hey, if you don't know somebody, you got somebody else, let's go. And we've created the opportunities. I think what I'm most proud of is we did it, and we're just getting started. The people that I've surrounded myself with, I'm proud of everybody that the work has been done, from a person that volunteered to intern for a TV commercial to connecting with friends that I haven't had an excuse to call in 23 years from my days at Coors. And we're putting the band back together and we're having a blast.
Yeah.
So I'm proud that I kept relationships that 23 years later, I can pick up the phone and it's like we hadn't missed a beat, and that person can still get it done like they used to. So
that's awesome. I think that's the biggest thing, don't you think, Gabby, for us, like starting off in like voiceover and our friends that are on camera, it's like staying connected to the people.
Staying connected.
Yeah, staying connected to support, and I still love I love the idea that that Brett, you were on a call that we had a little while ago. It was a while from now, but when you're like, yeah, I'm having a barbecue with my neighbors, like I forgot what you call
another flipping meeting.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't do well sitting in a house by myself in a pandemic with no one to talk to.
Right. But even just being like your own like business, you're a business owner of your own business, and we're in our booth all day. Like being alone at home is tough. So you have to stay connected somehow, right?
Absolutely. So I started turning on my grill, Gabby, on Thursdays from 11:30 to 1, and I called it another flipping a burger meeting. And you just had to bring your own meat, and the only rule was no sides. Because then, it just gets messy. And people started coming from around the neighborhood and just rolling up, and just, everybody still had to be outside. We have cooked everything you're not supposed to cook. Somebody tried to reheat lasagna on the grill. The only rule is it had to go on the grill.
That's funny.
Okay.
And so just people started wandering down, and in the middle of it, what are you doing? Well, I quit my job. I'm doing this. And everybody's like, hold on. And so friends from that I've known for 10, 15 years from living in the neighborhood started calling their friends, said, I got a guy that you might want to talk to. This is what he's up to.
Right.
And we're heating lasagna on a grill or cooking pizzas or whatever it is. It was a chance to connect and, further a conversation or a relationship.
That's amazing. That's amazing, especially during the pandemic when everything was just like at a standstill and nobody had any answers. And
it reached a point where, and everybody has their own different point, where you just had to go try to figure out what your normal was. We all said, the new normal. It's just the next chapter of whatever the story is. I mean, Kendra Hall wrote a great book called Stories That Stick. And she said, there's the normal, there's the explosion, whatever it is, good, bad, and different. And then there's the new normal.
Yeah.
But you can never go back to the old normal before the explosion, because no one will understand the story.
Right. That makes
so
a lot of sense.
It was the explosion, and I was done with the explosion. So I'm like, what's the new normal? Let's go.
I love it. And in the middle of the pandemic, you also did another little something on the side that we've talked about before.
Yes. My wife and I accidentally started a nonprofit, 501c3, to introduce kids to the sport of sailing, through being, creating leaders on and off the water, instilling principles of critical thinking, problem solving, grit. Kids lack a lot of grit these days.
Yeah.
So do a lot. Well, adults lack a lot of grit these days. People lack grit.
Yeah.
So we started the pandemic, and we started that during the pandemic, and it gained a lot of momentum. And now we're to the point where the first accident was we started a nonprofit. It wasn't an accident, but we didn't wake up and say, we should do today.
Right.
So we had a nonprofit, and it was still the pandemic. So we weren't sure what to do with the summer. So we decided to put 12 kids on a boat to race in a race called the Leukemia Cup, which is benefiting Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And we decided we were going to try to raise as much money as we can. Well,
Yeah.
we ended up raising a lot of money. The story had gotten out. Yeti came on board and we decided to make it a documentary. We also didn't know how to make a documentary. So we got Andrew Jowett from our board of directors, and Andrew and I had done some previous work together. We decided to make a documentary. We got done with that. Then I was teaching, I was an adjunct professor for 4 years in social media and entrepreneurship. And I was teaching class and I was talking about the documentary, and this kid raises his hand and said, "Have you ever submitted that to a film festival?" I said, "I don't know how to do film festivals." So I submitted it to a film festival. Now we've won film festivals all over the world.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And so then I decided that I'm going to quit my job. And what do I think I should do? Probably go make films. And that's how we ended up. So the accidental nonprofit led to the accidental and very calculated business today. And I think if I would have tried to plan any of it, I would have failed at every element of it.
That's amazing. And the trailer made me cry, by the way, the win over cancer.
Oh, you saw it?
I did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was there and I cried.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
And it's such a great group of kids, and we still talk on a daily basis. Some of them are off to college now, and the amount of letters of recommendation we've written. And the nice thing is we got the kids on the boat. And then after that, I said, okay, now that we're at the pandemic, I want to get more girls on sailboats, because it is a white male sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say it because I'm a white male and I am in the sport. So it started with kids.
And it's true.
And it's true. And we want to get it to more girls, which we're getting there. And now through some of our partnerships, we're trying to get in front of opportunities that kids would never have an opportunity. We have a relationship with the After School All Stars, and we work with some of the housing projects they have in some of the communities they have, where the kids don't have anywhere to go after school and in the summer. So we've worked with them to get those kids the opportunity to be on boats. So we're trying to bring more people to the sport that would never have the opportunity to do it otherwise.
That's awesome.
So you're going to expand?
Yes, we hope to. They've talked about rolling out some of our programs nationally. I will tell you, the one hurdle is we don't have a staff. And everyone's volunteer basis. So we've got a new board of directors and they're very excited about what is the potential. And this goes back to an earlier comment you made about being the source or the connection. We don't need to run our own sailing programs. We don't need to have a sailing school. We don't need to have a race team. If we can be the source that connects communities to kids and brands to kids within it, then we can continue to grow by just being that connective thread.
Mm-hmm.
And having them benefit from our partnerships. And that's what we're looking at. There's a lot of existing businesses that do this. There's a great school up outside of Cleveland that works in marine and aerospace engineering. They're an alternative or extension to high school. So why don't we find ways? We're working on getting boats up to their program so they can utilize them. So we can look at existing government entities or different types of corporate funded establishments that already are operating, and we can help bring in another layer to it. So that's really our initiative over the next 2 years. We don't need to do more. We just need to connect more people.
And that's kind of goes back to your business too. You're like, I don't need a big building with a big team. It's me and my dog. And then I'm going to find the people. You know, we had a conversation a long time ago over the phone, you're like, I'm building a hub and I need some spokes. And we talked about, what kind of opportunities, we could stay connected together, leave doors open. And I think that's like probably why you're doing so well is, you're able to stay connected and creative, and you're there to help, like you said, build other people up, which also benefits you as well.
Absolutely. If the rising tide will always rise all ships.
I love that. Yeah.
So I just try to get as many ships in my harbor as I can, because I all want us to benefit. I want someone to have that opportunity to try to get it done. I want someone to jump in and say, hey, I don't really know how to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's figure it out. I brought in a person who had really spent most of their time doing their craft in the retail space. And I said, well, can you look at this from a social media standpoint? I'd love to, but I don't have a background on that. I said, no, your brain works this way.
Right.
Can you apply this here? And their thinking and their analytics to it are amazing.
Yeah.
And they joke now. I bumped into her, a little while ago. She's like, yeah, I'm just working, a lot in social media. I was like, stop it. But it is. It's the opportunity. I know you guys are doing a ton of voiceover work and growing that, and that's the connection, that's the relationship also. And
yeah,
we all need to collaborate on whatever's possible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I love your mindset. I love the way that you think. You're thinking like you don't put yourself in a box. You're not writing these rules down, and so you're just kind of like testing the water, seeing where you can go, what you can do. Like
absolutely, and who you can get it done with. If I ever see a box, the first thing I'm going to do is put it on the ground and stand on it, because it just give me my podium. Let's go.
I love it. I remember too, like a couple months ago, you're like, I'm just, enjoying my time in Mexico. I think where were you in Cancun? Were you in Cancun?
I was.
Where did you and your videographer go? You guys were someplace shooting a commercial. I'm like that. I mean, come on. Like,
yeah.
Do you need a voice? Because I can come with you. I mean, I will sacrifice my time to go to a beach.
You were such a team player. You were such a team player, but you're going to be disappointed.
Why?
Because we were technically in Mexico, but we weren't on an ocean. We were going out there for a social media story about green chili and peppers. And so they wanted to go on and tell the story about, it was the hatch of green chili. Okay. And we brought, I think technically we spent most of the time in New Mexico, but we were kind of on the border because they have, this is really cool. They partner with local farmers. So all the sustainability, all the traceability of it happened in all these farms, and they weren't sure which was going to be the best hatch and where they were going to be working. So we had to bring our passport to decide what side of the line we were on. And the best part is we're driving, and there is this stop it's technically in the United States, and you just pull up and they ask you if you're an American citizen, and you just say yes. They don't check anything. So I don't know if it's like body language or what, or if they're not there, it's a sign that says, if you're not a US citizen, please stop. Like you're running into the country through the border. You're like, we almost made it to Colorado, but we saw this sign that told us to stop, and nobody was there. So we just turned around and went back. So yeah, that's what we were out there.
That's funny.
So we were in we were on the border in a green chili hatch field, which green chilies are still picked by hand.
Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah, the video, just finalizing it. They're going to roll it out on LinkedIn and some other social channels. So I'll send you guys a link. We are ending up in some pretty cool places.
I was going to say, like, how do you find your clients? I mean, honestly, from your side, if you are the hub and you are out there finding your clients, and you do have some things holding you back from your previous experience of clients, you can't go out to the clients that you use. So you have to find other means. That's one of the things that Gaby and I are always troubleshooting. We're always trying to figure out, like, how do you get yourself out there? How do you get your name out there? How do you connect? How do you network? How do you find the clients that are the right clients and the right fit for you?
Exactly, because stalking isn't an option.
Wait, it's not?
No.
Wait, I didn't know. Oh, never mind. Then you took my answer. I stalk people heavily.
I mean,
you found light cyber stalking, but
I mean, you can't say the name of the company, but you found a green chili company that works with local farmers, and you were out in the border of New Mexico, and
that is amazing.
I mean, that's not just like a, something that just kind of rolls into your lap. I mean,
no, well, it's the network actually. Some of the people that are running that company now, I knew from back in my corporate America days. It's not being afraid to ask. Yeah. And I just and with this great network of people, this person jumps in and helps me with that, and then they turn around and say, I was just in this conversation, somebody I know needs this.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
cool.
just, and it's putting yourself out there. It's using social media. It's not being afraid. I mean, you have to, what we do, we have to brag. We have to tell people we're good at it. We have to show the sample of the work. You have to show the creative execution that says, yeah, we can do this and we're proud of it. You got to be a little braggy. And then I taught this a lot when I taught social. I said, when you get a post out there, what's the next thing you do? There was a bunch of answers. I said, no, you call your mom and you go tell her to like your post and share it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
well,
that's
she's
a good
going to
idea.
see, she's going to see it. No, she's not. There's like 8,000 posts a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
When a
smart.
post goes out, go call all your friends, call your grandma, call and just say, hey, if you share this and make a comment, I owe you a beer.
Yeah. I like that.
And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you end up in all these other threads.
Yeah.
We have a great relationship with Hark and Derm. They're a sustainable sunscreen brand, all mineral based, made for extreme outdoor sports all day. You got to put it on in the morning. You don't have to put it on again. We did a collaboration with them with More Kids on Sailboats because More Kids on Sailboats is one of the ambassadors. The video came out today as a preview.
Oh, cool.
Right before I got on the show, I was walking the dog. We got to take care of the staff. And I sent it to every single kid on More Kids on Sailboats through their Instagram and said, like, share, comment, or you're on my list. So we got 15 kids that are going to go share this, right?
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do. And I wrote this article a couple weeks ago, and it's what to do after your video is done. Because you do a video, it's beautiful, it's whatever the story is, and you hand it off to the client and you say, this is great. No one knows what to do with it. So, well, should I put this on my website? Well, I don't know. What'd you hire us for?
Right.
And it's almost 4 pages of what to do with the video once it's done. And it's talking about, well, the last part is, how do you share?
Right.
What do you do? If there's another brand you mentioned in there, if you used a certain microphone on your podcast, you tag the microphone. And you go tag the microphone company and say, hey, by the way, check it out. We gave you a shout out in this. You mind sharing this?
Yeah.
We're so used to social taking care of itself. Social is all about hustle.
Yeah.
You have to hustle your content or it's not going to end up in the streams you want. And I think we even titled it, Make Your Content Hustle Harder.
I love that.
We call it Content Destination. It's one of the series we have. We start with story capture, then we move into content socialization. And what I'm talking about here is content destination. Once you've socialized the content, where do you put it? What do you do with it?
Right.
To the point where we actually are working on, once the video is done, if it's a how-to or if it's instructional, we go then write a blog about it. Because then it becomes part of SEM and SEO and getting into the blogosphere of things.
Yeah.
It's not the intent of the video.
Right.
But if it was a how-to video and there's 10 steps, that's a pretty good blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's reverse engineering it.
I've never gotten into blogging, but I have just started getting back into tweeting. And my only issue is, I just started tweeting a little bit. My only issue is now I'm getting these tweets from these women from different places that are wanting to call me. And I'm like trying to ignore them. And then of course I ended up with my youngest. I was like, they keep tweeting to call me and I don't want to talk to these people. And
well, you're tweeting. So why?
I don't know. I think it's like spamming. I think it's like a spam message or whatever. And so my youngest is like, well, open up the message. I'm like, I don't want to. He's like, hit the 3 little buttons, 3 little dots, and you just block them. And so I blocked as many as I could. But, it's like one of those things where social is awesome, but it can also be a headache, and like you said, like I'm pretty active. I'm a pretty active person on social media, but it's like sometimes you just kind of get wore out on it because you're kind of like, unless you're doing it nonstop, you feel like your content is just getting washed away into the nether. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's hard. It's hard work. It's a ton of hustle. And you said your content gets washed away.
Yeah.
Because people have to see things 8 times before they even connect with it. So I have to ask, so why did you got back into tweeting? Can I ask why? This is a focus group. You're in a focus group right
focus
now.
group, right? I'm in the focus group. I got back into tweeting probably because of Gaby. And a lot of times, a lot of people in voiceover who are in character and animation and anime, it's a huge market. It's a huge platform for voiceover and on-screen actors and actors. And so I'm not really in character anime, but also through podcasting, I thought this might be a better platform because I went to Podfest recently and they were saying that Instagram and Facebook are just kind of like, they're not going to do much for you. Like it's still, if you know, a lot of people live there and that's where they like to interact and they're good. But really, if you're looking for a place to really get yourself out there, you have to go to a different platform. And I listened to a talk on TikTok because they said like that's like the wild west right now. You can get away with whatever you want to get, and you can really one little video could get you blown up, you know, and not like literally blown up, but like, you know, and
maybe
potentially
Twitter might get you blown up.
Yeah, that's true. And then somebody said, you know, you should start tweeting, and I was like, ah. And because I had guested on other podcasts, and they don't live on Facebook. I think they got banned, so they were using, you know, Twitter as a platform to put the content out. Although I don't know if you can do small videos on Twitter. I'm not really certain about that. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like, are you a big short video? Like, do you take a long video of your client and then chop it up into little pieces and then use that as content, you know, across social media?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a process called content socialization, and actually it's a neat diagram. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
You guys would love it. It's an inverted triangle. The top of the triangle is the corporate story. It's this big triangle, right? It's all everything you need to tell. Well, inside that triangle is a bunch of smaller little triangles, and that's a corporate newsletter. That's a social post. That's a national sales meeting. That's a video at a trade show booth. The story is all part of the larger piece of the.
Right.
It's a triangle. It's a pie. I don't know. There's probably some analogy there. I'm probably copywriting piece of the pie or whatever.
It's an iceberg.
Yes, exactly. And each of those, we break it down into smaller segments. So let's say we come out with a 4-minute video about how to do XYZ. Well, first we're going to go to Instagram and we're going to go to YouTube Shorts. So we're going to have the format of Reels, Stories, and Shorts within YouTube. So we've got that format. Hey, 20 seconds. This is coming next week. And then we start to build up. So we slice it down into all these separate little stories.
Yeah.
Then we find the full 4 minutes. It's the social media and the content version of a trailer. Hey, Top Gun's coming out. It's 2.5 hours, but you're going to watch a 30, a 60, and a 90-second trailer, depending on what medium you're in, to learn more. So we're trying to make the content work harder.
Yeah.
By giving it more pieces and then building up to it. A little bit like a campaign, but in a digital sense. So we try to make each of the pieces, we slice it together.
Yeah.
And have it work a little bit harder for us.
Yeah, I like that.
And the clients love it because then it gives them more touch points, more to do, but we didn't have to fly out and shoot for 2 more days.
Right.
Slicing and dicing, it's like an industry term. Just kidding, I made it up. But you know, it's like literally that's what we do. We slice and dice it and get out what they want. Because it makes sense for each of the platforms.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there's some more advertising too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without you trying harder or investing more.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to be platform centric. If you're not platform centric, your content isn't going to socialize well.
Yeah.
A 10-second thing on LinkedIn, probably people on LinkedIn, they can handle 60, 90 seconds, but I put a 4-minute video on TikTok and toast. So the platform is really where you have to align to.
Yes.
The audiences are different. The attention spans are different.
Totally. I talked to a lady at the Podfest and she was like, they're big in like LinkedIn videos is like a new thing right now. And I'm like, what? What is that even? LinkedIn's another beast that I shy away from. I'm there. I'm on that platform. I just don't utilize it as well as I probably should have. But I know it's important, especially for business stuff. But again, like you have to be careful about what you're posting. Like I'm not going to post the same thing I post on Instagram that I'm going to post on LinkedIn. right?
Mhm.
Like my LinkedIn is gonna be more business oriented versus Instagram might be a little bit more social, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes I let let it rip. If you've got it, it's sometimes if it's
Just let it
not
rip.
directly to the audience, it tends to break through the clutter more. I would say most of our work, because of the types of clients we have, we're on LinkedIn a ton.
Really?
I'm a really big deal on LinkedIn. No, I'm just kidding. But like, it ends up there a lot because I'll tell you a perfect example. We shoot video at trade shows.
Yep.
So we've all been to trade shows. You went to Podfest, right?
Yeah.
It's a trade show. It's a version of it.
Yeah.
And Podfest is probably the exception. But you think about a big corporate trade show. Let's think about and a brand will 2 or 3 days later, oh, we had a great time at XYZ trade show, and here's a recap, and here's what we learned. Everybody's already gotten back on the plane, thrown away all the stuff they couldn't fit in their luggage because of all the free tchotchkes,
Right.
organize the business cards they already want to do.
Yeah.
That trade show, that post is useless to that brand. So we came in and started shooting before the trade show and posting it on LinkedIn and telling them we're going to be at this trade show. Then the sales reps go take that post and they go share it with their network. Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, Susie, Joe, we're going to be at this trade show. Check out what we're doing. And they use it as kind of their tool. Then we shoot day one. We let the story come to us. We figure out what we want to do. We put a 45, 60-second video out there and we post it by that night. Full production, the whole thing.
Wow.
And then, hey, day one, come back tomorrow because we're going to be doing XYZ. Again, sales reps post it. VPs walk in and be like, who did this video?
Yeah.
Like, I got 3 meetings from this video last night. So we started doing that at trade shows and we just got the analytics on the back end. And it is just, the LinkedIn pages during these shows is through the roof.
That's awesome.
And they're
So
using it as a sales tool.
yeah. So be
Yeah.
ahead of the game. Be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Don't do it afterwards. That makes sense. You literally had me to a T. I'm like, I took all the tchotchkes I didn't want. I left them in the hotel. I just took the business cards I knew I was going to use for my friend and myself. And yeah. And then like I had access online on like an app, with the other
Yep.
people. A lot of stuff is digital too now. A lot of like,
Mm.
a lot of these
Mhm.
these expos are digital. I think that's pretty
yeah.
amazing. So I want to ask you a question before we run out of like time. I mean, we're doing good on time, but I want to ask you a quick question. So like from your perspective from like where you sit at the table of like the creative table, right? So we're obviously we're voice actors and you're the business guy that's the advertising and marketing and you're working with the clients. So like how do you connect everything together, and make it all work? And then you and I had this experience and you brought it up in text. I'm going to bring it up now because I feel like it's really important for us voice actors to know that like a lot of times there's so much more that happens before we even come to the table. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand that it's all about perspective and it's all about being subjective and that like we're like the last piece of the pie. And sometimes that piece of pie is not what the client's looking for. And that is
Yep.
A-okay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like, so from your perspective, where you're sitting, like give us some knowledge because I know you got like some knowledge about that. Like for actors on
What's
camera
going
and
on
voice actors,
through your guys'
like
mind?
Yeah.
because you live in the creative world, but you're like stirring the pot, like you're putting all the ingredients in.
Yeah. You guys ever watched the Smurfs as a kid?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like Gargamel and I go try to get all the Smurfs, but most of the time I'm hoping the Smurfs just fall into my pot while I'm stirring it. I'm like, oh, cool. We got Brainy and we got Handy Smurf and Smurfette just fell in the pot too.
I just almost spit my
Meanwhile,
coffee out.
with Azrael the cat like pulling on my leg. So that's the dog. That's Stormy, but it's just like, no, I mean, it is a little bit like the pot because what you have to do is take yourself to what does success look like at the end?
Yeah.
And then you back it into a to-do list of, all right, do we have to pick the message first? Do we have to pick the location first? Sometimes we do start with what's the voice? Who are we gonna go with? I mean, I've been in meetings where they said, we want this to be from the voice and tone from a female perspective.
Yeah.
Or this is going to be a very chiselly male perspective. It sometimes starts with the voice. It normally doesn't, because you're dealing with a marketing individual that's probably looking as much at a spreadsheet as they are a storyboard. So they've got marketing people on the client side have very different goals.
Yeah.
Because being a marketing, a brand manager or director of marketing, you don't spend a lot of time with the creative aspect. A lot of times I used to walk in from the agency side and go, oh, good, the favorite part of my day, I don't have to look at a spreadsheet or talk about sales numbers. Because they are very much on that. So they don't come in and think about sound design first. And when I think about sound design, I think it's the voice, and I think it's the music that overlays with the voice.
Yeah.
They're thinking, I got to make this claim to get these people to buy this or book an appointment here or do that. So how do I do this?
Right.
And if you come in and say, well, the voice should say, and they're like, hold on, that's for you to figure out. So I think you have to, I always look at what the end goal of success is and then back out each of the components of the formula.
Yeah.
And usually give myself a couple options. So if one option doesn't work, you're like, well, I've got this other person, because it's, you guys know this, you spend 2 weeks formulating something in your head, and then you get to sit down for 20 minutes and explain it to someone who has no idea, that's been along in the journey in your brain.
Yeah.
And they go, well, I don't get it. You're like, well, okay, let me tell you how to get it. And so that's, I don't know. Did I answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yes. Yeah, it's all
because
about,
you guys are probably trying to figure out, when do you come into the equation of this work? May it be this,
Right. And
this
trying
film,
not
a
to take it
documentary.
like personally as well.
Oh, I bet.
Because,
I mean,
like Josh said, we're the last part, but it could be something that's like our voice could probably not be part of your project because it's not what you're looking for.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And how to not take it personally? Because literally, I would probably be, if there was 1,000 people that would be in voiceover, I'd be 1,001, because I am nasally and I'm too loud, and but that's the words that come out of your mouth every day. That's how you communicate with everybody. And all of a sudden, you say, well, your voice isn't good enough. You're like, oh, hold, that's right here. That's gotta hurt.
Well, that, and it's like all subjective too. It's like every day you walk into the booth, or every day, like, that's why I asked you, like, how do you keep going? Every day you have to get into the booth, and you have to do your auditions, and you have to network, and you have to email, and you have to reach out, and you have to connect with people and stay connected and build relationships. And also, like, you have to like consciously stay confident. That's like the main thing. Cause like you could, you're putting your voice in you are your brand, like my voice and who I am is my brand when you're a voice actor and on-camera actor. And, but it's all about like staying consciously confident all the time, consistently. And a lot of times you hear like a lot of voice actors are kind of like, how do I compete, and like, where do I fit at the table? And like, where does my voice sit? And it's like, a lot of times it's like, they get down on themselves because they're like, and I'm speaking personally, but also from other conversations, it's like, hey, it's not about us. We're here to lend our voice, and we're here to be a part of a project. But a lot of times it's subjective, it has nothing. You could have done it beautifully, but you said one little word a little bit differently, and another person said that word a little bit better. Or they, like you said, they wanted a male versus a female, or they wanted someone with a little brighter voice or a little more gravelly voice, and but like, we're just picking your brain a little bit. I don't know where Gaby went.
No, I think that's great. And I'm going to give that some more thought, to be honest with you, because it's just, it's how does that work into the equation? Because when all the elements of a finally produced piece come together, it's every component of it. And what should come first? Because I know what does come first.
Yeah.
But what is that step-by-step process that gets you to it? And how do you keep that swagger all the time?
Well, I mean, how many times have you had your video guy shoot something and he shot it from like a perspective, and you're like, yes, this is going to work. And then your client's like, no, it's not what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like
You know,
millions of times, I'm sure. Or like how many times have you
yep.
pitched something where you're like, I think that the spoon needs to be, you know, it needs to be crafted in this light. And the client's like, no, that's not what's in my head. You know, a lot of times you don't know what's in their head. You're just coming up with ideas and you're shooting them out at them. And, you know, and like, it sounds like you just keep giving them ideas and keep, you know, till you figure out what's going to work in their head. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you got to keep chugging. As long as you can keep your own train on the tracks, you keep chugging. But what I've realized from my years of doing this is I could have an opinion of how to approach something creatively, or and the client could have a perspective. At the end of the day, honestly, neither of our opinions matter.
Yes.
It's what the consumer or the audience will resonate with. My whole career, I've always defended the
That's
audience.
it.
Well, I think we should do this. Well, you did that and they didn't buy it. So your audience has said, we don't care about your message. So we have to go find the message that connects. And I said it at the beginning, that's why the agency model needs to evolve or is broken, because the audience is controlling our approach. The audience is, we're swiping left and right for dates. We're swiping up and down on reels to what we want to say next. We control it. If we don't like something on TV, we go check the 487 other channels that are available, or we pick up our iPad, or we pick up our phone. There are so many different audience-driven ways that I don't care what my opinion is, what the client's opinion is. We have to figure out something that's going to connect with an audience at the end of the day, and they define it. Now, is that easy to do? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, that's who's going to make a difference of the messaging, because they're the ones going to connect.
That's what I was looking for.
Sorry.
That's what that's what I was looking for.
So I didn't know all that other crap I said before.
No, but how do you connect with the audience? Like, are you checking Instagram constantly to see what's going on? Do you follow anyone in particular?
We do a lot of back-end analytics. We try to take a look at what point people, how long they watched, when they watched, when it was a spike, when it wasn't a spike. We just did a analysis on social for a spices, a seasoning brand, and we found that from our analytics that Wednesday, we kill it on Wednesdays. Now, I don't know why we kill it on Wednesdays, but we kill it on Wednesdays. And we started looking. So we do a lot of work in the back end.
Okay.
The pretty pictures are great. It like makes my mom proud, and my kids share them, and this is what my dad does, and this is what my dad and his friends do. But if we don't understand the end to end, then we have not done the service. The value isn't there. I mean, we put a social media post out, and we track it all the way to see if they looked at that post and ended up in Amazon, and if it ended up in the Amazon cart. We can look at the whole journey from post to Amazon cart. And oh, by the way, they didn't check out, but they did buy this spice instead, or this sunscreen instead. So a lot of our products with our clients are sold on Amazon, and we're connecting the whole end-to-end experience through our social.
Wow.
So that's how we do. Now, a lot of times for bigger projects, we'll do a focus group. I have the beauty of living in Columbus, Ohio, which is the exact demographics of the United States. Little known fact. That's why it's the exact demographics of the United States. So percentage of, male, female, income, Caucasian, Hispanic, all that breakout, all that census. It's Columbus, and that's why there's so much retail in Columbus and so many fast food. And we have the benefit. If you love fast food, move to Columbus, Ohio, because they prototype every type of sandwich, pizza. If it can sell in Columbus, it sells in the United States.
That's so funny.
Wow.
How much junk have you guys gotten though in this last year? Like down in Ohio, that whole social media thing, like the whole joke behind Ohio. It's like you guys have kind of gotten like, a beat down on social media a little bit, but I was like, what's up with Ohio?
That's all right. I still don't think I'm from Ohio. I mean, I
know.
still think I'm a Michigan kid that, ended up
You
in
res-
Colorado. And then I forget that I've lived in Ohio for 17 years.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's too funny. Gabby, did you have another question? I don't want to step on you.
Yeah.
again.
Sorry. No. How do you handle rejection? Like when a client says no, like how do you
I
handle that?
I feel
I
like you're
cry
like,
a lot.
next.
I cry. I am kind of like next. Honestly, I was reading something I wrote, and they decided not to go with us, and I was rereading it. I use it to fuel me. Maybe it's the competitiveness in me, but if I hear they don't want to work with us, I will do everything in my power to prove them wrong, that it was wait till you see what we did next. I can't wait to flex on you in social to say we did this.
That's awesome.
I use it as motivation.
Yeah.
I use it as
Okay.
motivation to every time we don't win an RFP or a proposal or they decide not to go with this, I ask what we could have done differently. Can you tell me what the point of difference is? Yeah, it's good, but 9 out of 10 people don't have the guts to even answer the question.
Right.
If I was too expensive, tell me. If you didn't like my attitude, tell me. I can handle it. But
Right.
I use it as motivation to charge for the next thing and make it bigger, better, faster, cheaper, stronger, whatever line in the sand we drew to be more competitive.
I love that.
I do. So wait, they basically ghost you?
Yeah. Hey, what could I have done better? It's like, didn't get an email. I won't name any names.
That's the worst.
I put myself out there. I said, hey, I'm not sensitive. So I can handle it. But just just give it to me. And most people are like, ooh, no.
Have you always been that way though? Like, or is it something that you had to build?
I've always been this way.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I just say for good or for bad. I have kind of been the same individual my whole life. And there are two types of people in this world: people that love me and people that hate me. No one is in between the two. They're like, he's an okay guy. Like there's nobody on the fence.
That's too funny. I love that.
My wife gets asked a lot, is he like this at home too?
She's probably like, yes.
Yes, and I've heard all the jokes, and I sit next to him at the house. He doesn't stop, and
yeah.
And we have one daughter that's a little me and one daughter that's a little her. So every once in a while, she'll look at us. She's like, "You two, just go walk the dog. Just do something outside.
Get some air." It's hard to put yourself out there, though. I will tell you. I'll tell you guys a little funny thing before we wrap up. I was out there. I was networking. I was getting on. I was getting on the phone. I was calling. I was doing a little bit of digging and finding like casting directors and producers. And I ended up getting a phone number because there was no way to email this particular casting director. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just call her, right? And
old school.
I wasn't prepared.
OG.
I know. I was like, what's up? And so then I got a voicemail. Thank God I didn't get the real person, because I got a voicemail and I was like, yeah. And I just stumbled all the way through it. But then I realized I was stumbling through it because I hadn't been prepared. And then I just like laughed and was like, okay, well, I'm really messing this one up. So hopefully you call me back, just made a joke of it. And then I ended up going and realizing that where I'd found her on a podcast, she had said the best way to get a hold of her was on Instagram. So I went to Instagram and I messaged her and I just said, hey, I'm the idiot that left the bumbling phone message, but I'd love to connect, And I was like laughing and I'm like, well, F it, right? Like, if she calls me back, maybe she'll think it's funny, or she doesn't call me back and she's not the right fit for me. So moving on, next,
Exactly. If they don't call you back, then it was going to be a miserable project and you weren't the right person. We all fail every single day. Everything I've ever learned about business, being a husband, being a dad, being a friend, being a son, I've failed. I've learned it all the hard way.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn it the hard way and you're not honest with the person, like, I am really messing this up and my bad. And you've just got to kind of charge on.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Fire it on.
Okay. So we got to have our content hustle harder, right? So when this podcast comes out, I'm going to share it with all my friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
because that's the goal.
Right.
So you guys
Right.
both do voiceover. So I want to figure out what kind of voiceover you guys do. So when my network's listening, they're like, well, we know Brett's two friends. Let's talk to them.
So do you have a script for us? I'm just joking.
No, like give me your scoop, give me your spiel. Like,
Oh my
Do you want to go first, John?
No, you can go ahead.
you do different voices, Gabby? Wait,
I do.
Okay, give me the
I
scoop.
do different voices. Right now I've been focused in commercial mainly because I don't have my character demo out yet. That does and has not stopped me from auditioning for character roles. I did get one for an app. I was a little boy. It was so much fun.
Wait, can you do little boy voice?
Yeah, she can.
Yeah, but you have to
I'm
tell me
putting you
about,
totally
like,
on the spot.
like
Putting you totally on the spot.
what range?
Because I mean, he could be a little young, but I don't know. What age do you want?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I just wanted that. That was so. Characters are obviously. Is it more cartoon? Is it voice? Like, tell me, what's a character role? I don't even know.
A character role, it could be more cartoon. It also could be it doesn't necessarily have to be a cartoon. It could be for like an audiobook and you're just like a human, a character, but you're probably from I don't know, LA, and you're or a valley girl, like,
or
more
corporate,
like a vocal fry,
or
corporate.
Yeah,
So
corporate videos that live on your websites, so you hire someone to do an animated corporate video, and then we would voice the animated corporate video for that lives on their website or lives on their social media or their YouTube.
I love it.
Do your vocal fry again. I want to hear that again. That was really good.
Oh, thank you. I don't know.
I'm gonna invite you to my daughter's freshman friend hangout. You'll fit right in. You'll fit right in.
Wait, do your princess. Do your princess.
My princess.
Like the princess with the pigtails, and she's got rollerblades on, and she's like,
oh yeah, of course I can do my princess.
I love it. She just
to do, like, having talked to you for an hour and then watching you do this. It's fascinating. Are you bilingual?
I am, so I can definitely do it in Spanish, as well as in English.
Say something.
We've shot in the past year and a half, one with another agency and one with another project. We've actually done 3 Spanish commercials.
Oh, that's awesome!
I know, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear you say something in Spanish.
So Joss sent me an audition for a character, and I was
from
doing
Twitter.
it in a booth, and from Twitter. And I was getting really worked up and everything. I come out and my husband's like, wow, it looks like you got a workout. And I told him in Spanish, I'm like,
sí, porque para variar en esta voz necesito mucha energía.
What did you just tell your husband? What happened?
Yes, because when I'm in the booth and I really need to work up this energy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
All right. See, I love it. See, now we know. And
You're doing awesome.
Joss, do your princess voice.
I don't do character voices.
She could.
No.
She's awesome. She has a beautiful vocal fry.
Oh,
she
absolutely.
is definitely edgy. She can be sexy. She has a mom voice.
And the meditation. I guess right now what I'm finding is that I do a lot of audio dramas. So a lot of people really like my rich, deep voice. When it comes to I guess murder. There's a lot of murder. I guess I'm murderous in my voice. So a lot of audio dramas that have to do with murder. And I'm taking acting classes, so it also helps. So I've been on a couple audio dramas. I've now been the mom of the kid that ends up turning into the murderer, and then I was the mom of the kid that turned into the murderer, and for an audio drama. And then I also was, I did all the credits for an audio drama. So they really like my deep, rich, raspy voice. But I think a lot of times too, because I sound I have a deeper, raspier voice, corporate tech, anything internet related or anything and I think construction, I think when it comes to construction, any sort of that, they really like my voice. And I think I would be great for e-learning or any sort of corporate e-learning, because my voice can be monotone, but it's rich in its texture. So, I just need to find I know the right clients are out there. I've had, some successes and I'm happy with it, but it's just more of consistently finding the clients that click with me and my voice and are what I'm looking for in terms of the projects that I'd like to work on, and they want to work with me, and it's just this like symbiotic, consistent, regular thing. So that's where I'm at right now. But
I love it. And that's a good insight into, the part of the industry that I play in. And understanding that. So I'm actually already concocting the murderer's voice kills the princess.
Yes.
The Spanish princess. Is that something we can shoot?
yes, we can totally shoot it.
We're gonna
With
need a
some
budget. We're gonna need a
spices.
budget for
Yes.
that. Yeah.
We're gonna need some
Spring
spices and some green chilies and a spoon, and we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We need the spoon. It's gotta be the perfect spoon that the client envisioned.
Yeah. The funny thing is I ended up like in the acting world. I don't know if you knew this. So I actually got shortlisted and then booked for a photo shoot in Miami for like a car accident, but the shoot got nixed, or they put on hold. And then I just got picked up for it's another crime thing. I got picked up for to be a background, a paid non-union background for like a big show that's happening. They're filming up in Tampa. I can't say what it is. So I'm like, and I think like some of my archetypes are lawyer, so if you have a real estate company or a lawyer company, I feel like my voice is a little bit too young for, possibly some of those mature corporate, hospitals and stuff like that. Like I feel like I have a little bit more of a too young voice, but when it comes to like real estate, law, environmental, construction,
Oh yeah, I got a couple. I've been looking at some construction. We've been chatting with a couple people. I'm looking at the next sailing documentary. So you never know.
Documentaries. I love documentaries. I love them.
Perfect.
So yeah, you'll have to.
All right. Well, we gotta put We gotta put the band together. So you guys can be. You guys are in the band now. I gotta go find us a gig.
We passed the audition.
Yeah. I love it.
I really am happy that you were able to come on, and I knew that you would be a great conversation. I always have a good time talking to you, whether it's over the phone or, following you on social media or running into you at home, which has been a while since I've been home, but
it has. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. I love coming on. I love chatting with you guys. It was really interesting perspective for me to hear from the voiceover world. It's such a critical component. There's a recent study that the audio, if a film has bad audio, it gets twice as bad of reviews as it has bad video.
Really?
Because we can make up in our brain when we look at the video of what we should be seeing. But if we don't hear the right audio, we're disrupted. And if we're disrupted in a bad way, then we don't connect with the video. So audio is critical to all of our successes.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you made me that's a really interesting fact. You made me realize too that I also want to start doing short videos and posting them on Instagram or Twitter, where you just have your voice and you can make your own little video. You could take a still picture and just, voice it and put it up there and market that way.
Oh, absolutely. All the different, you guys could have a blast with, hey, for the next month, I'm going to give you every voice I got. Hey, welcome to me today. I'm construction girl. Welcome to me today. I'm lawyer girl. Welcome to me. I'm murder girl. Gabby, you can be like, you can do a whole scene of the boy, the princess, Gargamel. I don't know. Can anybody do Gargamel? It just, because then you're in the stream.
Yeah.
And then you call me and say, hey, Brett, share this. Because remember, the content's got to hustle harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll buy you a beer.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? You just promised a beer. And I may never come see you in the Yucatan, but I owe you a beer. Yes. And I'm going to hang over my head for the rest of my life till I see you.
She might come visit me, so then you'll have an excuse to come to Florida, and then there you
Perfect.
go.
We'll have a summit. We'll have a summit.
I love it. I love it.
If you call it a summit, you can write it off. If you call it a meeting, it's a gray area.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
No, that is really good. I'm making that up. I'm not sending this to my accountant.
I'm like, that's a write-off. That's a write-off. That's a write-off. That's not a write-off at all. So, okay. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, we should probably do the thing. Like, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're the Content Experience Group. ContentExperienceGroup.com is how you can hunt us down. We're on social media or
LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn. They can find you on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook and the good old fashioned www. So that's how to find us.